It is KB Weather, as you all know, and I am back with part 2 of the tornado footage Iceberg. If you haven't seen part 1, go watch it. But this is a long one. We got way more entries than last time, so I'm not going to waste your time, and we're going to jump straight into the iceberg. Man's backyard destroyed by peripheral winds. This video by Siphon Sound is of the 2022 Andover tornado. It was filmed by Taylor Train as the tornado would move right towards him. As it got closer, the inflow winds into the tornado would demolish the fence, and he would luckily seek shelter, likely saving his life. This is yet another one of those videos of what not to do during a tornado, because this could have easily gone wrong in so many ways. Peacock Saint visits an EF2 way too close. This video, of course, by Peacock Saint, shows him getting up close and personal with the April 23rd, 2020 Madill, Oklahoma tornado. This video is actually super cool, and I definitely recommend y'all giving them a watch. Iconic McConnell Air Force Base footage. This video by Lord Man Deep A is of the 1991 Andover tornado as it passed through McConnell Air Force Base. This video is super iconic. I'm pretty sure literally everyone who's watching this video has seen this or a clip of it. High-end EF2 destroys Luxembourg town. This video by UWBE International starts as this massive multi-vortex monster will impact the villages of Rodange. And this is a particularly intense tornado for this region of the world. And although Europe has had some monsters, they're fairly rare. But nevertheless though, this is a really cool video that I definitely recommend giving a watch. Man driving home gets caught in an EF3 and calmly drives through it. This video by Zipty's Garage, taken in Pennsylvania, shows this man as he literally drives right through an EF3 tornado like it's nothing. You can see when the tornado impacts him, all the branches and leaves and stuff are flying and it's going crazy. Looks like he was luckily in the outer winds of the tornado because EF3 is definitely strong enough to hurl some cars. But if you guys are ever in this situation, please just pull over and get into a ditch or something. Especially this tornado, it seems to be rain wrapped. It's almost impossible to see. It just looks like you're driving through some strong winds and rain. House explodes in violent EF4. This video by Find the Tornado shows a Minnesota tornado as it forms and heads straight for a house, completely obliterating it. Henryville High School CCTV. This video by Hooper displays the 2012 Henryville EF4 as it went through the school. You can see the winds picking up while buses were still in the parking lot. Luckily though, the children were inside sheltered, but this thing ran through. As you can see, it was a beast of a tornado and was actually covered in Scariest Tornadoes of All Time, part 2. So yeah, if you want to go check that out, feel free. Angry Octopus, 2 for the price of 1. This video by Weatherby shows the 2011 El Reno EF5 tornado as it develops from a multi-vortex into a massive wedge. And as they were fleeing the tornado, some horizontal vortices would extend out to them, almost as if it's trying to grab them, which is pretty creepy. But if you want to learn more about this tornado, you can watch my video on it. 1953 Warner Robins footage. This video by Anticyclonic is of a monster EF4 headed straight towards Warner Robins Air Force Base in Georgia. As the tornado approached, it will begin shredding the buildings in front of the cameraman. This will cause him to retreat, but sadly, him and 18 others will be killed in this monster. More EF5 from inside a storm cellar. This video by Nick Haskins shows as him and others take shelter from the monster EF5 overhead, and you can hear it. It sounds like a freight train. This video though is just chilling as there are children crying and just the sound of the tornado shredding whatever is overhead of them. It's fairly chilling. It's definitely a tough one to watch for sure, but luckily though, they had the shelter and this will save their lives, as I don't think anyone would want to be outside in the EF5 tornado. Tuscaloosa EF4 from across the parking lot. This video uploaded by Jason Rolowski, and as the title implies, it's a video of the Tuscaloosa EF4 filmed from across the parking lot. Playground CCTV captures incredible changing winds. This video by The Tishbite shows as the 2014 EF3 Tupelo, Mississippi tornado would impact this playground. and it's actually pretty cool to watch the wind change in direction and speed as the tornado first comes through with that inflow and that RFD blast through with that outflow. It's pretty cool, and I definitely recommend giving this one a watch for sure. Dumbest thing I've ever done. This video, uploaded by James Roberts, shows him recording the EF4 Cordova, Alabama tornado as it headed straight for him, and disregarding all tornado safe, would just sit there and watch it until it hit him. And according to his description, he was slung out of the house, but like an absolute Chad, he would survive. But seriously, please don't do this if there is a monster EF4 heading straight for you. Screaming man dodges an F2 and rescues his neighbors. This video by Stormstock depicts literal footage of Goku shifting the course of a tornado to not hit him and then going to rescue his neighbors. But nah, seriously though, this man was incredibly lucky, as if that tornado would have hit him, he would have been cooked. But though, he did go and save his neighbors, which is awesome. Waterspout makes landfall and tears house apart. This video by Herc47, I think taken in the Bahamas, it just says Grand Isle, depicts as a fairly stout waterspout head straight for him. He would then go and take shelter under his house and watch the tornado absolutely shred his neighbor's home. But this just goes to show, although waterspouts aren't taken as seriously as their tornado counterparts, they can be just as dangerous. Principal narrowly avoids debris from school-destroying EF3. This video by 9 News was taken in Texas from the Jacksboro Elementary and High School CCTV, and it shows as the principal runs down the halls, narrowly avoiding debris falling right on top of him. Dude films his impending direct hit with an EF3. This video from r/tornado on Reddit shows the tornado that would actually impact my hometown of Jonesville, Arkansas back in 2020. But the guy would film pretty much until the tornado was right in front of him, and this is when he would retreat and go back into the building. But with that being said, that is the conclusion of Layer 6. Man calmly films F4 destroying his neighborhood. This video by MM Hardkey begins with the man filming as the tornado approaches, watching as it gets closer and closer until it's practically right on top of him. And as the title implies, the tornado begins to absolutely shred his neighborhood. But as it begins to get a little too close for comfort, the man takes shelter in his home. And one of the craziest things about this video is that it was filmed in the Czech Republic. Lisa's dashcam footage. This video by Niall Sheehan begins as Lisa is parked in front of a store in Dunrobin, Canada. As she backs out, a massive rain-wrapped EF3 begins moving straight for her. She would soon notice a power flash right in front of her and would have to make a split decision, choosing to take up shelter beside the building. Luckily though, this was the correct choice, as the monster tornado would pass just in front of her. Woman screams as her car is being torn apart. This video by Chad Blue 83 shows as another Canadian tornado would attempt to assault someone in their car. But seriously though, this video is haunting as the lady is screaming while she's literally inside of the tornado. Thank God her car didn't go aloft and she didn't go tumbling. But man, I couldn't imagine being in this situation. Insanely violent tornado filmed insanely close. This video by D. McGowan shows the infamous 2016 Katy Winwood, Oklahoma drill bit tornado as it was shredding along its path. He would end up getting a close-up shot of the monster EF4 as it crossed the road, and you can see the insane wind speeds this tornado had as it's shredding trees and power poles and whatever else it was hitting. Russian driver backs out of garage right in the EF3. This video by Viral Hog starts out with the Russian backing out of their garage, but a pretty sizable EF3 would have other plans for them. Luckily though, it would only graze them, just knocking them off the road. Sadly though, it would plow straight through some homes, causing some pretty major damage in the area. Truck flipped over by Joplin EF5. This video by Mr. Emir 270. Driving into what he thinks is just a pretty bad storm. But as he got closer, day turned to night as he was actually driving under the mesocyclone of the Joplin supercell, right into the path of the Joplin F5. The tornado's outer winds will prove much too strong for his truck to handle and cause it to flip. Luckily though, he will be okay, but sadly for many others, the same cannot be said. EF2 touches down on top of on-foot storm chaser. This video by Reed Timmer starts with him observing the base from directly under it, watching for any funnels or spin-ups. But little does he know the spin up is right on top of him, as a EF2 would literally touch down right on top of him and his team, and would actually mature to be a fairly photogenic tornado as well. Red pickup cartwheels through EF2, lands upright and drives off. This video by Brian M. Finger is pretty self-explanatory, as the red pickup just got flipped back over, and drove off like nothing happened. Chillest guy ever watches EF4 pass right in front of him. This video by Frank_QE is just a man casually watching the Fairdale Rochelle tornado pass right in front of him. But this video is pretty cool, as you can watch some of the ground features and multi-vortex features of the tornado pretty close. Tour van flipped over by EF2. This video by Jeff Lieberman shows a storm-chased tour van being hit by a rain-wrapped, fast-moving EF2 tornado. Luckily, though, they were okay, but this is pretty scary. Parkersburg ATM footage. This video by The Gazette shows a pretty infamous tornado video of the Parkersburg EF5 hitting this house. But if you want to learn more about the Parkersburg tornado, you can watch my video on it. Tuscaloosa EF4 from across the street. This video by Severe Weather shows the infamous Tuscaloosa tornado, and he would continue to record it as it approached him, getting closer and closer. Luckily for him, though, it would veer off just to his side. But this was definitely some insane up-close and personal footage with the EF4. Face-to-face with an EF3. This video from the Great Lakes Weather and Climate Facebook page by way of Bernard Spear shows the Gaylord, Michigan tornado approaching their car and eventually hitting them. EF2 barely misses man on the phone with his sister. This video by Mike Chapman. This video begins with a man on the phone with his sister as the tornado approaches. It would get closer and closer. Luckily, though, it would veer off to his left instead of hitting him directly on. Woman survives getting tossed by EF4. This video by Lauren Manu starts with her driving to work. As the Coleman EF4 would approach her, she would stop the car and began filming, but the tornado would only get closer and closer, eventually tossing her car. Thankfully, she would survive, but I'd imagine this would be an extremely terrifying event. Uruguayan shoe store gets annihilated. This video of storyful news and weather starts off with people looking outside at the tornado, but as it got closer and closer, it would eventually hit the shoe store, causing some pretty major damage. Mamma Mia. This video by Simone Astolfi begins with an Italian man observing debris falling from the sky. As the tornado got closer, more and more would fall, and eventually the wind would pick up. This would cause him to utter the words, "Mamma Mia," which was kind of funny. But what wasn't funny is how this whole thing would go from about 10 to 100, as the tornado would finally make its appearance, whirling right in front of them. Inside the 1999 Bridge Creek Moor Monster, uploaded by Val and Amy Castor, is from the basement of one of the homes that were impacted by the Moore EF5. This is some pretty eerie footage, as night literally turns to day as the tornado moves. But with that, we are done with Tier 7. Our house is freaking destroyed, Josie. This video by Mark Wells shows us the Washington, Illinois tornado quickly heads for them. Luckily, they will end up taking shelter, but once they came out, they will be greeted with a grisly sight as the tornado significantly impacted and damaged their house. This will cause Mark Wells to utter, "Our house is freaking destroyed, Josie." Taking shelter in a service pit. This video by Quadzilla shows as a group of workers take shelter in a service pit. Luckily, it would save them from the monster EF5 that was the Joplin tornado. But according to the description, the ceiling and door would end up being ripped off. Storm chaser barely escapes the largest tornado ever. This video by Dan Robinson shows us he attempts to escape the core of the storm by moving south towards the circulation. He would end up cutting it a bit close though, as he would almost be engulfed by the massive wedge. Luckily though, he would just narrowly escape and watch as what was just about to hit him cross the road. Get up under the girders. This video uploaded by Polish Chaser 1 is extremely iconic, and I'm pretty sure most of you have already seen it. But as this news crew is recording this EF2, they would end up in its path, and with no way out, they would end up taking shelter in an underpass. Now, this isn't a good idea because it can actually have an opposite effect and intensify the winds. Luckily though, they wouldn't take a direct hit, but this video will end up spreading the myth that an underpass is a viable tornado shelter. Cameraman takes a roof to the face. This video by SCMO Safe Rooms shows as a monster EF3 is heading straight for Caruthersville, Missouri. And as the tornado was right on his doorstep, he would not take shelter, instead choosing to continue recording and would take a roof to the face for his efforts. Golfer gets locked out of shelter and survives direct hit from EF4. This video by Storm Chase TV shows as a man in Georgia was locked out of his house in the middle of an EF4 tornado. Luckily, he would survive, but would capture an insane video in the process. Italian driver gets T-boned by EF2. This video by Marco Butelli shows them in traffic as an EF2 swiftly approaches their car and hits them. Luckily, they will be okay, aside from a cut on the driver's face. Family rides out Joplin in bathroom. This video uploaded by Kobe John shows as someone records the Joplin tornado as it approaches, and once it gets close enough, they all go in and take shelter. And while in the shelter, they could hear the winds and the monster right outside. Luckily, they would survive though, but as they would emerge, they would see the absolute destruction that is all around them. 360 degrees of absolute destruction. Terrified wife shrieks as her husband drives straight into an EF2. This video by Jim Bob Duggar was filmed in my home state of Arkansas. But in this video, they would be driving straight into the path of an EF2. His wife would then notice the possibility of a tornado near them and would begin screaming and panicking. But he would ignore it and tell her to calm down, and the tornado would hit them and flip their car. FedEx driver gets locked out, somehow survives as building disintegrates around her. This video by News 1130 is absolutely insane. So pretty much the FedEx driver was making a delivery to Sagona's True Value store. And when she came back around, she would notice the tornado headed straight for her. So she would begin to film, but soon realize it's too late. She would attempt to get back into the building, but would be forced to take shelter behind a vending machine, but luckily would survive. I would definitely recommend giving this one a watch, as the story is just insane. Thank God everyone was alright though. Family nearly crushed by SUV while sheltering outside. This video by Kobe Sherrill shows a family driving, searching for shelter when they would eventually come up to these rails. They would take shelter on them, parking their vehicle a little bit farther out. Then, as the tornado hit, it would scoot their vehicle towards them, almost crushing them, thankfully stopping right before. Cameraman watches day turn to night, moments before an EF5. This video uploaded by Jamie1251R shows as the Joplin tornado would approach them. Luckily, they would end up surviving, but the contrast between the beginning of the video and the end is insane, with the monster tornado turning day to night. But with that being said, we will be moving on to the final layer. Weather Channel crew gets obliterated. This video by the Weather Channel shows as their crew would be one of many to be caught off guard by the monstrous El Reno tornado, as they would end up cutting it a little bit too close and ending up directly in its path, causing their car to get flipped over. Luckily, they would survive, but the camera would fall out of the car and you could actually see it rolling, which is just insane. Cameraman struck by lightning and knocked unconscious by debris, but keeps filming. This video by Vortexa would show a man recording one of the Fritch, Texas tornadoes, and would seem like your normal 90s home tornado video until this happens. But like an absolute G, he would tank it and keep filming. But he would continue filming a little bit too long as the tornado would approach him and end up shredding areas around him, causing him to get hit by debris and knocked unconscious. But even after this, he will wake up and continue filming. Parkersburg graduation party. This video by Unipanthers3051 shows as a lady records the incoming Parkersburg tornado, and once she notices, she corrals everyone inside and into shelter, saving their lives. Joplin gas station video. This video by IZELSG is absolutely harrowing. This video is one of the most disturbing videos I've ever seen, and just really goes to show how scary tornadoes can be. Luckily, they would survive, but the intense winds from the tornado, coupled with the screaming and panicking from the people inside, plus the emotions they must have been feeling, is just a lot. I definitely don't recommend watching this if you're sensitive to this kind of thing, because it's pretty intense. Everything not to do during a tornado. This video by Chris Lancaster is an instructional guide on everything not to do during a tornado, as he would literally just sit here and watch it get closer and closer until it eventually hit him, causing him to make a dash for shelter. Thank God he would survive, cause this could have gone horribly wrong in so many ways. Inside the actual core of an EF3. This video by Brandon Ivey is pretty awesome, as it shows a Pt.2 intercept of an EF3, and I definitely recommend giving this one a watch, especially if you want to hear and see the insane things that go on inside of a tornado. Clem Schultz footage. This video by Extreme Chase Tours shows the disturbing footage captured by Clem Schultz. As him and his wife would rush to take shelter, they would realize they needed lights, so Clem would go upstairs to get lanterns, but he would see the tornado approaching and realize he wouldn't make it downstairs in time. So he decided to take out his phone and record his last moments. Luckily though, he would survive, but sadly, the house would cave in, crushing his wife who was in the basement. But with that being said, we've completed the tornado footage iceberg, and I can never see tornadoes the same again. But I have returned though from my wrestling hiatus, which actually turned out pretty nicely. I got second at state, and with 10 out of 10, definitely do again. But y'all can expect more videos now that the official season is over. I will have a lot of freestyle tournaments, but now that I won't have daily wrestling practice, I'll be able to work on the videos. Hope y'all enjoy it, and this is KB Weather out. See y'all soon.